Hi everyone. Welcome to this very special event. My name's Charlotte Collins. I'm Editor-in-Chief of Sheerluxe and thrilled to be joined by Beauty Director. We're not using iconic, but
no,
in
iconic's
my head,
right here.
Yeah, we've got all the icons here tonight. The fabulous Alessandra Steinherr. I mean, we're going to talk all things nighttime beauty routine, all things Estée Lauder, but all things beauty in general, because I know you don't like this chat, but you really are a beauty guru. Like, you do know what you're talking about, don't you?
Well, I do like to be told that I know what I'm talking about. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think when you've been in the industry for a long time and, growing up literally in magazines, I mean, that was my absolute dream always, to be a beauty editor. I love it. Of course I enjoy it, because I guess there are just so many more voices now. And I think sometimes people struggle to know what advice to follow. So I really appreciate it massively. And I like it when you guys, when Sheerluxe gives me like a seal of approval. I do like that.
Thanks, I'll take that. We're going to talk, as I say, all things routine later, but we're going in with a hard-hitting question. What is the best beauty advice you've ever received?
I mean, it's actually probably the most boring beauty advice. Don't worry, it's not to drink water. I promise you it's not that. But it's something that, unfortunately, people think, but it's to be consistent. I think it's not so much about a product, but it's about really continuously using the right product for you. That's obviously the tricky part. It's making sure it's the right products for you. And but that's what pays off. I mean, it's everything, isn't it? It's like, for example, I really don't like working out. Well, there you go. I'm not consistent. It's not. But you have to, everything you do, you have to be consistent. And that's the secret of good skin long term.
What did that journey look like for you? Kind of, how did you get into skincare in the first place?
Well, so actually with me, it's so funny, because especially now on TikTok, when I see a lot of the young kids, like the 13-year-olds with their skincare regimes, I mean, that was me. At a time, yes.
You weren't a makeup wipe girl.
No, I was a skincare girl, but that was my grandmother. My mom's actually here, but my mother's mother really got me into looking after my skin from a young age. But it was literally like a cleanser and a moisturizer. Like at the time, it wasn't really much more. But I was that girl who was always into skincare from a very, very young age. And actually, it was really funny, because when I first started at Glamour, in the beauty department, nobody ever wanted to write the skincare features. Everyone wanted to write the makeup, the hair, because it was much cooler. Like, nobody really was interested in skincare. And I was always like, I'll do that. I want to do the skincare. So, for me, it's always been a kind of lifelong thing. I don't know. My skin was my thing. I think when I first read magazines as a young girl, I couldn't really, this is going to get a bit deep, but I couldn't really identify with the models, because, in sort of the late 90s, early 2000s, it was very much, the glamazons, like, the Cindy Crawford. I didn't look like those models. Like, I was always no, I really didn't. I was not, it was a lot more like body image was very different to what it is now. Sure. I mean, body positivity was not a thing. So I couldn't identify with them, but I always thought, yeah, but you know what? I might not be able to wear hot pants, or what at the time was considered acceptable, which is a whole different discussion. But I can do the makeup, I can do the hair, I can do the skin. So I was always drawn to beauty in that way.
What do you think has changed? What made everybody else get on the skincare bandwagon?
I really think it's the pandemic in a big way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think massively. I mean, I think people started getting into it, but I think 100% the lockdowns and just like that's what really got people focusing more on themselves. And I mean, what else were you going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I walked, I ate, and I did skincare.
That's really do the walking
That's
part.
literally what I did.
What about routine? Obviously, as you say, consistency is so important. Kind of, when did you develop a really clear routine? How, you said that the key to really good skincare is knowing what works for you and finding that consistency. How did you begin to find out what worked for you, and what can other people do to really understand that?
Yeah. So, I mean, the choices were a lot less. Again, when I started out, it was, and even as a journalist, there weren't that many products that were launched. It was a lot less. So, I guess myself, I'm lucky because I get to interview scientists, dermatologists, therapists, and the best people who kind of advise me. But that's the whole point of, what we do. And that's the whole point of what, you guys do at Sheerluxe. I mean, your beauty editor is amazing.
Beauty director.
Rebecca, yeah. And, when you work on a magazine, you can't just say whatever. Everything has to be fact checked. And that's definitely was the case when for me, and it's the case for you guys at Sherlock. So the information is going to be real and backed up. So I think it's going to trusted sources or people you trust. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say, I would hope that I'm someone that people, can trust my advice. And at the end of the day, you can only become an expert through experience. And so it's not really complicated. The thing is, the skincare is actually not complicated, but I think it's been made complicated. And I think too much noise sometimes can be a bit paralyzing. I mean, my own routine is very simple. Like, genuinely, it's not.
Go on.
It's not a crazy routine. I mean, I cleanse. I don't even cleanse in the morning, but then I've got dry skin. But people who don't should.
That's one of those myths that is constantly being busted, right? You don't have to cleanse in the morning, do you?
Well, no, if your skin doesn't need it, you don't. But I think sometimes, we also think like, well, so-and-so said that I have to, so I'm going to, and it's kind of like, well, how does your skin feel? How does your skin feel today? Like some days, like, okay, for example, when it was so hot yesterday, trust me, I did because I was sweating and so then you do cleanse, you go to the gym, you cleanse. But I think sometimes being a bit intuitive and actually trusting yourself a little bit. But I cleanse, I do use, I mean, I was going to start saying, but I do genuinely use my A&R morning and night. We can get to why I do that. And then I use a moisturizer and SPF, but
it's pretty simple.
Again, SPF, everyone's going to be, she goes on about SPF, but it really is, it's so essential and it really works. I think it's one of those things. It's actually a product that works.
You also have the skin to back these things up, but no one's rolling their eyes because like we all want this skin, so don't you worry.
But the thing is also like, I always try to say to my nieces, I have two nieces who are like 12 and 13, and we FaceTime skincare. We do skincare together on FaceTime. I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, they're on the good stuff, simple, not too complicated, whatever. But they're like, oh, I don't know, why did I put sunscreen? I said, well, I know you can't see the damage tomorrow, but 20 years down the line, that's when you see it. So the thing a lot with skincare, it is an investment in the future, and it's cumulative, and you see the results down the line. I mean, sometimes, I almost wish that sun damage was immediate because a lot less people would be,
So true.
You and I love a tan. I mean, I am tanned.
But we love a fake tan.
But it's a fake tan, So I think this is the thing that it's consistency, it's long term. And that's really what it is.
I've had one of those scans done to see your level of sun damage.
That is scary.
Yeah.
And
if you haven't done that, maybe don't. And just use your SPF every day.
And?
It was actually not that bad.
There you go.
This side of my face is a year older than this side. But that's a whole other podcast.
I mean, that's also probably has to do with where you're sitting and when you're driving, when you're, when you're in an airplane. People don't believe it, but it's true. Like when you're in an airplane and the sun comes in on that side, it hits you.
On the subject of routines, nighttime routines, that's obviously what we're here to really understand from you. What does a good nighttime routine look like?
The main thing, I mean, I guess you guys, again, I'm sure you're a highly knowledgeable audience because you are Sherlock's readers after all. So, you do have the best information. I mean, I guess you all know that at night, it's obvious. We're sleeping, we're regenerating everything. It's the brain function, it's everything. But of course, the skin as well, because the skin is, the biggest organ. And so at night, it makes sense to use products that will actually regenerate your skin and support your skin rather than strip your skin. Am I going to make enemies by saying be careful with retinoids? Because I think the thing is the whole conversation with retinoids, which are meant to be used more at night. I mean, there are some you can use during the day, but again, for some people, that's fine and that works, but it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. And so I personally I've always been really into peptides as an ingredient. And because for me, they stimulate collagen in the same way retinoids do, but it's much, much gentler for the skin. And I think it's just much more universal for everyone.
I've got a question here that says, why is having a good routine at night so crucial? I mean, it's for all of those regenerative purposes.
Yes, I mean, I think, years ago, you'd say like, I had so many friends who would go like, oh, I went to bed with my makeup on. I woke up with my makeup on and I took it off nobody does that anymore nowadays. Like, right? Like everyone literally is on. So we've really evolved when it comes to skincare. So people understand about cleansing with a balm cleanser, for example, or double cleansing, which you have in the A&R routine. I think it's what you put on afterwards. And you want to have that product that will support your collagen because, the funny thing is, well, it's not funny at all, actually, but from your mid-20s, your collagen starts to degrade.
It's not funny.
So it's not funny at all. But I just don't believe in being very forceful with the skin. I think that's one of the biggest things where maybe I go a little bit against kind of what a lot of people would believe in. But of course, it depends on your skin. If you're acneic, it's a different story. If you're acne prone, by all means, we're talking retinoids and maybe even Roaccutane or whatever, but that's a different story. But I think generally speaking, we're just talking about healthy skin, long-term, being gentle but effective is what I'm about. And I also think that technology has evolved so much that you don't have to really be incredibly hard on the skin. You can get the results by, being gentle.
That's kind of the danger of the proliferation of skincare information, right? That we all just assume that we should be on this ingredient and that ingredient and this acid and that acid, and actually we can just strip it back, right?
Yes, but again, this is the thing. Of course, to some extent, it is individual, and it's not that I'm 100% against acid or I'm against all vitamin A. That is not the case. It's just about how to use the products, what frequency, what order, at what time of the year even. In the summer, I'd be very careful, with anything very active. And finding that rhythm that, if I could speak to everyone individually, I'm sure we'll probably come out with some variations in routine. So it wouldn't be everyone. But there are certain products that do work across the board. Then it's a question of whether you like the product or not. Sure. But like a hydrating serum that has peptides in it,
I was going to say, leads us nicely onto
is something that, it's sometimes difficult because the one thing people always ask me is like, what's the one product you've, used the longest, whatever. And it is A&R. I mean, I have used it for, I would say like a good 20 years. Every day.
Since you were 22.
I'm actually, I am in my 40s, but like more advanced than you think. And, so this is a product that I have used in my routine absolutely every day. I swear.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us what, I know we've touched on peptides, but why? Why is it this one that you've loved for so long?
So there are different iterations of it, right? So, it started in 1982, which I did not use it in 1982, but there have been different iterations. And what I love about it is that it was the first brand, actually, Estée Lauder, who talked about a night routine. So also I like the fact that they're experts. It's been over 40 years of actually, like I said, to be an expert, you have to have experience. So when you invest all that time in researching, you really get the results. So what I love about it is, it is an oil-free serum. And even though I have parched skin naturally, it's just, I absolutely love it. Like it gives me that hydration, but there's no greasiness. I love the fact that, yes, you've got your hyaluronic acid. We all know about hyaluronic acid. You've got squalane in it, and you've got a blend of peptides. And that's the key for me. Are the peptides. And it's a product that during the day will protect because of the antioxidants, and at night it will repair. I like it because it's easy. I don't have to worry about it. It plays really nicely with anything else. So if you're someone who's on a retinoid and you love it, who am I to talk you out of it? You can use it in conjunction with that. You can use it with, if you like a vitamin C, you can use it with a vitamin C. If you like your acids, you can do that. And it just plays really nicely. It's like, that kid that's friends with everyone. It just plays nicely with everything. And I think for me, mainly, I've actually never found a product that gives me those results. And the only reason I can attest to that is because it's the one thing I've used for like a good over 20 years.
I'm so interested in the fact that you can use it in the daytime as well.
Yeah, easily. And also like, it's just incredible how it does not have any adverse effects with other products. And I think that's the main thing because, I'm sure Lauder won't be happy for me to say this, but it's unrealistic to have only one brand for everybody. We all like to try different things, right? So if you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can add this into my routine, it's, you can. Genuinely, you can.
Does what we need at night vary depending on our age?
I think so. Yes. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to tell a 12-year-old to use what
Sure.
a 50-year-old uses. Even though collagen does degrade, I mean, there is a time and place, and also, I mean, if we go back to the teenagers, whole discussion now about retinoids on 12-year-olds, like, please, I mean, we're gonna have like an epidemic of skin problems.
It's horrifying, right?
And people have a lot more issues now. Like, why is it that literally there are more allergies, there are more reactions to products? I mean,
But do you think we're using too many products? Is that why?
too many, but also not the right ones.
Right. Like we're overexposed.
I mean, listen, I I try a lot of products.
Sure.
I really do. But I'm a lot more careful now about what I mean, obviously I can read an ingredient list and I kind of can gauge what's going to work for me or what isn't. So I'm quite vigilant with what I do. But I mean, I get it myself. Like when I see a new product, I'm like, oh, that might just...
Well, then everyone's talking about the next best thing, right?
that might be like... I mean, we're kind of guilty. Let's be honest.
Of course.
We're kind of guilty of that as well. As that, but I see it more as like also informing rather than saying like, because I was saying about products being so, product development being so much more advanced now. Of course, there are always going to be better performing products and all of that. So I'm always excited about newness, but I'm quite careful about incorporating products. So I won't, for example, I wouldn't recommend anyone to just go, right, I'm going to have like a whole brand new 5 new products in my regime, because if you do react to something, you don't know what it is you reacted to. So if you just introduce one product at a time, you know what works for you. You can kind of work it out that way, like, oh, well, that broke me out, or that irritated me, or that didn't work with my, eye cream that I really like, or that didn't work with my sunscreen. I mean, a lot of things are products that pill, for example, it's just about how you layer products, and you might be like, what is it that did that? But if you start constantly new products, you don't know what it is that did that.
You've mentioned collagen a few times, so we've got to talk about the newest launch.
Yes.
From, I want to get the name absolutely right. It's the new Revitalizing Supreme Plus Night Power Bounce Cream.
I love the name Power Bounce.
Isn't that what we're all going for ultimately?
Bouncy skin. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going for.
You've been using it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been using it for very long. So
it's brand new.
I'm not going to pretend that guys, I've had this for 6 months and whatever. So this goes on top of your serum. Ideally Advanced Night Repair, but whatever your serum you're using. First of all, the texture of this is just crazy. I mean, I don't know if you could, but it literally,
it bounces.
It has this bounciness to it it's a special way they poured it, that also it feels really thick and balmy, but actually when you rub it in, it just completely disappears. I mean, we both tested it, didn't we?
It like melts.
You were like, it literally melts into your skin. What's clever about this is all about this whole idea of preserving collagen. I mean, I like to call it collagen banking, but it's this whole idea.
Nice.
Yeah, it's this whole idea of basically topping up your collagen levels. I mean, this is what peptides do, right? They basically tell you in a very, I mean, I can go technical, but in a simple terms, it tells your skin to produce more collagen, okay? Because if you apply collagen topically, that won't penetrate your skin. So products with collagen, that they don't really get in. So they might be nice as a topical moisturizer, absolutely, or prevent moisture loss, but you need the peptides to really signal to your skin to produce more collagen, which is what gives your skin the structure and sort of the bounce, literally the bounce. That I like to call it juicy skin. It's like the juiciness to the skin. Finding a good night cream. I mean, I used to use like basically a very simple moisturizer myself, but I have switched to this because I'm like, if I can bank more collagen, I'm literally going for that. Texture is beautiful. Interestingly, I was talking about the fact that I tend to have more dry skin, but there's a technology in there as well that also, if you're more prone to like have open pores, this will also won't make your pores look bigger. It'll actually help kind of refine them. You can't change the size of pores, but you can refine them. Sure. So there's also an element there where I just feel the addition to it, I feel, has supercharged my serum, and it has made a difference using this instead of the regular moisture. Like I said, I obviously haven't been using it for 3 months, but I have been using it long enough that when you wake up, you do get a feeling, how sometimes I don't know if you have this, but I sometimes go to bed, I've done all my skincare, obviously, and then I wake up and I'm like, what, like my skin, you know, like sometimes if I don't use the right product, I kind of feel like what's going on when I'm testing products. With this, you wake up and you're like, no, I do feel I look kind of bouncy and juicy and like, yeah, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good skin day.
Let's talk about the other product, the other newness, which is the Advanced Night Repair overnight treatment. What does the overnight treatment do?
Okay, so this feels very solid.
It does.
This feels absolutely solid when you first touch it.
Interesting.
So here we're talking collagen banking. This is if you want this, you know, this whole idea of like keeping your skin as youthful as possible. Here we're literally talking prevention of moisture loss. So this is the product that you'd apply actually after your moisturizer, if you wanted to. I don't think this is necessarily for everybody, because this is very much if you're someone who's got dehydrated skin, you're going into winter, you're really concerned about moisture loss, because it's almost like a sealant. It's got different levels of hyaluronic acid. It's also got the proprietary peptide that's in the serum as well. But this is very much, it's I mean, again, it's my skin loves it, but I wouldn't say, if I'm being 100% honest, I think if you have breakout prone skin, this might not be.
But maybe in winter, like, you know, in London in January when we were like, oh my God, my skin, you know?
This is amazing as sort of that last layer where it just locks everything in. And you're like, okay, everything underneath can get to work. Yeah. And I'm protected. This is very much like a barrier protection product. So this is like collagen. This will protect your barrier.
Can I ask you about collagen and can you have too much of it? Peptides and collagen, can you overdose on it? Can you flood your skin with too much or no?
I try and I fail.
Really trying to hit that threshold.
I mean, I take collagen internally. I do. Yeah. No, so like I said before, applying collagen. So there are products where it's like a collagen cream. You do need to read what it says on the label, because collagen itself, it literally will sit on top of the skin.
But the peptides, can you overdose on peptides?
No, because they're not aggressive to the skin in the sense that they're not exfoliating the skin. They're not forcing the skin to act differently. So when you talk about acids or retinoids, they basically make the skin act differently, right? So, you know, it's meant to be in a positive way, but it's sort of like an exfoliating act. It's a bit, it increases cellular turnover. So it does sort of theoretically make your skin act like younger skin.
Got you.
Which can be helpful. Too much of it though, right? So anybody who is on a retinoid, or anybody, I don't know if any of you have had a reaction, and if you use too much of it, you can get red, you can get flaky, and then people say, well, you'll get used to it. Well, I don't really buy into that. It's just that, you know, your skin sort of gives up. Yeah, if you keep traumatizing it, you know. But the reality with peptides is that can't happen, because it doesn't work in that way. It's basically like a messenger. It says to collagen, hello, wake up. Yeah. You know, but it doesn't do it in a forceful way. And so, no, I mean, I literally load up.
Let's keep going.
I load up.
Obviously, I'm going to ask you about fake tan, because Alex said to me on the way in, can she ask me about my nighttime routine? And I was like, no, my nighttime routine is just a lot of whatever
but I want to know, though.
But well, no, that's it. I take
what do you mean?
Well, like, it's not great. We don't need to dwell
on it. But you cleanse, right?
Of course.
But there you go. Your beauty editor will tell you off if you don't.
No, slap on the wrist from Becky. Of course I can. But I know you're an avid fake tanner too. So
she's not going to answer the question about her nighttime routine.
I do the whole nighttime routine, but basically, I do it all. I do the whole, you know, all the important processes. But I promise I do. But I feel guilty it's most nights when I go to bed and I'm just putting tan on my skin.
Do you put tan on every night? But I do love my tan.
And I look very pasty if I don't.
No, but
the next day.
I'm with you, and I'm not here to judge you, because you're my tanning sister, like 100%. The thing is, like, it makes us feel happy. Right. It makes us feel good. And I'm definitely like, I'm not, you know, beauty as well. It's not just about, you know, like you must do, you have, it's about making you happy. Right. You know, like me doing a nighttime routine makes me happy, because one of the things is just that it's my time in the evening. I don't have to take care of like my boyfriend who's demanding or, like it's for me. Nobody, it's just me.
Yeah.
So that's why I like doing it.
Sure.
Tanning is the same thing. It's like, and I'm sure you're the same. It's not that it's about other people. It's because it makes you feel happy, right?
My entire self-esteem is hooked to how tan I am. So that's,
I hear you.
Another issue.
I hear you.
But Alex, I want to know about how that's, because I go to bed so guilty.
Okay, don't feel guilty. Because at the end of the day, and I've got to tell you this, and I know we're here for A&R, but it's actually the truth. I mix it with my A&R because the self-tan, every self-tan, I don't care whether they say to you it's a natural self-tan. At the end of the day,
it's chemicals.
It's naturally drying, right? Yeah. The component that tans your skin is going to be a little bit drying on the skin. So I actually cut it with my A&R because then I feel like I'm sort of counteracting the dryness. But it's like when you blow dry your hair, it's drying on your hair, but you've got to live, and you've got to do what makes you happy. So if we're just constantly just like, it's like when people say, well, this is maybe says a lot about me, but it's like, well, sugar is bad for your collagen, eating sugar. Yeah, but I love cakes. Yeah. I love chocolate. I love, like, you know what?
Someone did say to us before, give your other tips, like not eating sugar.
No, but it's the truth. Of course, sugar degrades, but then I just swallow more collagen.
Yeah, balances out.
So, and then I do my collagen, But like, otherwise, I do always think about it this way. It's just kind of like, what am I going to do at the end of my life? I'm going to sit there and be like, well, I didn't have sugar. I didn't tan. I'm this. But you still,
Yeah.
So I think definitely, I promise you, like, this is what I do. In terms of whether it's bad for your skin, it is going to slightly dry your skin, but it...
And clogging pores?
I think in that case, you do want to cleanse in the morning as well. But again, that's how you would...
Takes off the tan.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
This is now just a really personal
clinic situation. But if you tan every day, you don't even give the tan a chance to take.
This is true. It's not going anywhere. It's permatan at this point. Okay, so just cleanse in the morning if you're worried about it.
I think so. I think cleanse and then just make sure you really do hydrate and then you do use a really nice... you might be a good candidate.
Oh, no, I'm all over
for that.
Yeah.
Because, if you want to counteract the dryness.
No, I like a juicy moisturizer.
Yeah. So I think that would be it. But, to be completely perfect at all times, I just think where's the joy in that,
So true.
Like I said, I know I shouldn't eat as much sugar as I do. I'm fully aware of it. But I'd rather have the chocolate cake.
Damn right. You said that your nighttime routine is your time. It's your we bandy around the kind of self-care phrase a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
But that's your space. What else do you do? So, are you a red light girl? Are you a gua sha girl? What are your tools? What else do you do in your nighttime routine?
Yes, when I'm not being lazy, in an ideal world, yes. I do like an LED light, and I actually think it works. So this is the thing. I do believe those LED lights, again, not necessarily, not every single LED on the market, but, a lot of the more famous ones people know, like I do think they work. But again, it's going back to the first question you asked me. You got to be consistent. If you use it once a week,
sure.
It's nice. Like,
it's
it
relaxing.
is nice. It is relaxing. And maybe those 15 minutes or you have it on, you might not be on the phone, although you can actually be on the phone with some of them. So it might give you that moment. But I do like an LED. I like a facial massage. I do think it makes a difference. Especially, I feel it's not so much because to massage muscles properly, you do need to know what you're doing. Like, I think a lot of times I'll let a professional do that, but it's more, I have a lot of water retention in my face. So if you're someone who tends to be puffy and retains water, it does help to do a little bit of that with the gua sha or with the finger, with your hands. I like all that. Yeah, but it's just a nice way also to get the products in, and it is that moment for yourself. I know we talk a lot about this idea of self-care, but it's because we all need it, really, to be honest. Because I think more than ever, I know from myself, I'm very guilty of this. I am on my phone literally 10 hours a day. It's so, you could say, well, it's kind of, I work through my phone, but it's absolutely embarrassing. And I try to switch off that thing where it tells you like how long you're on your phone, but then I don't do it because I do think I need that, so.
I didn't know you could switch that off.
Well, I I think you can.
I'd like
well,
to
mine
get rid
isn't.
of that, yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where I do think more than ever it is important to have that time for yourself. And also I think especially, as women as well, I do feel, I don't know about you, but we do put a lot of people before ourselves. And, I feel like I always want to make sure everyone else is fine and I give myself what's left. And, that's not great. So I think at least when I do my skincare morning and night, it's that time where it is just my time.
Yeah. I want to make sure that we've touched on all the A&R range before we go to questions, because there's obviously we've got A&R, we've got the hero products.
Yes.
But there is the full range. You and I had a call last week with the scientists behind that. I mean, it's kind of mad, the level of science that goes into these products.
But genuinely.
I started feeling a bit like I was in science class, and then I'm like, oh wow, it's going over my head again.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
When you think about a brand like Estée Lauder, which has been around for as long as it has been around, the amount of investment they put into research and development is incredible. Obviously, we get excited about, there are so many brands out there, and I like an indie brand as much as another brand, but we also have to consider that the big brands is, especially like Lauder, the amount of how they lead in terms of science, which then other people pick up. How many nighttime serums have you seen from other brands, right? Like they were literally the first one. So because they invest a lot into research, their products are always going to be at the forefront. They had peptides before people spoke about peptides. So there's something there. And I think, it went over our heads a little bit in that call, didn't it?
Fascinating.
Yeah, I was like, hello.
There's just so much science
but
behind
especially when this is, I think I said it earlier, it's 40 years of expertise when it comes to a night routine. We're all very good, and hopefully we talk a lot about the need of SPF in the day, and it is hugely important, but you also need to protect during the day, and you do need to repair at night. And in terms of all the products, the balm, there's a balm cleanser that I absolutely love, and then there's a gel, it's here, there's a balm cleanser that I love. And I generally am not the biggest fan of balm cleansers because they make I have sensitive eyes. And then when you rub them, some of the ones with the aromatherapy oils, they get into my eyes and then they stream. This is fragrance free and it really removes makeup beautifully. And then they have the second cleanser, the jelly, which is gelée. Sorry,
come on, we're
gelée,
French here.
which is beautiful and non-stripping as well. So you can do the whole, you can do your entire nighttime routine. If you already know A&R, obviously, you know how good it is. But if you're just going to try two products, I would do these two, because you probably have, you might have a cleanser you like, whatever, but these two are definitely worth it. This, if you have those issues of moisture loss, if you have more drier skin, but I definitely think these two, I also love the eye product, by the way, because I have sensitive eyes. The eye product is the one that I use because it doesn't, sometimes eye creams can migrate. We move our eyes, they can migrate into eyes, and especially at night as well. Sometimes you move your eyes when you're dreaming or whatever. And so it goes into your eyes. It can make your eyes puffy in the morning. This one doesn't because it's very lightweight. But there's if you need anything for nighttime, it's here.
Yeah, they've got a lot.
I think so. Will you be using it?
Yeah, I obviously use A&R. I'm just not mixing it with my tan. I'm doing it and then my tan. So we'll start mixing. And
or you can layer if you prefer.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's what I do.
You can layer.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Excellent. And
do
no,
the tan first, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise the tan's not going to take as much.
It's just going to drip off my face, isn't it? Yeah. But I will absolutely be using this because I get very dry skin, particularly in winter. So I'm excited about that.
I think that if you are a candidate for that, it is so...
Yeah.
I'm literally like, oh my God,
I'm obsessed
I love
with how
it.
firm
But I'm
it
just
is.
saying, I think everyone can use this.
Yes.
I think this is more like I said, if you're breakout prone, it might not be your one. But also if you're sensitive and you had a laser treatment or you had an irritation or reacted to something, there's something nice and soothing about it. There's no claims, obviously, on that, but I feel it's quite a nice, soothing kind of product.
I'm just conscious for those listening, because this is also being recorded as a podcast, that we're talking about the overnight treatment.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes, it's not that helpful if they don't know what we're talking about, is it? We talked a lot about nighttime, but I just have to, I don't mean to be sycophantic, but like so many people, I'm sure, just can never get over your skin and how amazing your makeup looks. What are your rules for base, for prep in the morning, and just making sure your makeup looks flawless all day?
My makeup looks best, and I'm no makeup artist, but my makeup looks best. This is so unhelpful, I'm going to say, but it looks best if I take a bit more time because I try to get up a little bit earlier and sort of because when I do my skincare, because I do a lot of skincare, as in, it's not a crazy routine, but it's rich, right? So I see a lot on socials. People are like, put the moisturizer on and then do your foundation, concealer, everything right away. And I'm like, well, like that doesn't stay put.
Well, that's when you peel as well, right?
And then I thought, maybe it's just, you know, because I'm getting older and everything just moves. Like when I was 20, even 30, and I used to do my makeup, nothing moved. Nothing moved. Now it's like, I constantly have to do this. I don't know, like everything starts moving. So I feel like if you take a little bit of time, just tiny, I'm not talking out, but I'll like do my skincare, have a shower, make a tea, come back.
Wait, you shower after your skincare?
No, have a shower. Sorry, have a shower, do my skincare.
Right, I was going to say. Okay.
Go make tea.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, wash it off and start again.
Sorry.
I do it 3 times in a row.
Shower.
Rinse, repeat. Sorry. No, I have a shower, do my skincare, and then I'll make a tea. I'll come back. Then, you know, so I kind of try to space it out.
Okay.
I feel like if you take a tiny bit of time, and also with skincare, like you do need to leave a little bit of time for the product to settle. Like that's what I also like about this moisturizer. Like when you first put it on, it sort of sometimes can leave a little bit of a white film, but the idea is that you leave it and then you massage it in. So the whole point is that you kind of take your time a tiny bit. It's not crazy, but also like we're always so rushed. Like, you know, I know I'm on my phone, I'm on this, I've got to be somewhere. I've done like, but I feel my makeup lasts better if I take a tiny bit of time. And also I do like setting spray in between layers.
Okay.
So I'll do foundation, concealer, setting spray.
Got you.
Cream bronzer, cream blush, setting spray.
Okay.
Then the tiniest powder.
I was going to ask if a powder comes in.
Tiniest.
Yeah.
Just so that this situation of the doesn't happen. Like,
Okay.
sorry, the migrating of the concealer.
From under the eye area.
From
for
under
those
the eye
listening,
area
yes.
doesn't happen. So yeah, I think that helps. A few layers of setting spray. Because do you like a lot of powder on your skin?
No, I don't at all.
It just doesn't.
I
work
also
for
don't
me.
mind being shiny because I'd rather that than being matte.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I sort of lean into
I've
the
been
shine and
accused
it's
of like,
fine.
you shiny. I'm like, great.
Yeah. Thank you so
That's
much.
juicy.
It's glow. Yeah.
That's bouncy.
just
Thank
what
you.
we're going
It's
for.
alive. I'm not, you know.
What is the trend on social media that you find the most alarming in beauty, skincare? I'm putting you on the spot with that one.
Oh, I love being put on the spot because then you get a proper
Honest answer.
answer. I mean, not that you don't get honest answers, but like, well, we spoke about the teenagers. I do find that not great at all, because again, the repercussions they'll see it later. I think it's calmed down a bit because so many people ruined their barrier from using so many acids that people are now suddenly talking about barrier. So I do think people are sort of understanding that you shouldn't sort of overdo it constantly. But yeah, I would say the young kid. I don't know. What else have I seen recently that really? What have you seen that you didn't like?
The kids thing scares me. I mean, I don't even have people of that age in my life, but I keep hearing about, you know, particularly big retailers and also incredibly expensive skincare that 12-year-old and 13-year-old girls are gravitating towards, which is scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary that it's become a status symbol
Exactly that.
for a young kid as well. For me, it's like the one thing is it's bad for your skin, but also like, what does that say to you? I mean, for society,
Beauty
like
standards
why does a young teen need like something that costs a lot of money? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I've heard of girls borrowing their mum's empties or, you know, things from their bathroom cabinet to line up behind them for their TikToks in order to make it look like they've got them.
yeah, but what does that tell you?
exactly?
You know, about
Exactly.
like, you know, I think there's something also. I remember like for me when I first bought, you know, like an A&R, for example, we're here with A&R, but like that was special for me. You know, I was like, well, I mean, I was in my mid 20s, but that's not 12, you know, and you do think like you understand the value of it as well, because I think that's a thing when skincare becomes like a thing, like, you know, I mean, I remember with my mom, when I was young, we'd go to the supermarket, I'd be excited if I get like a Chupa Chup or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now it's like, well, I want my XYZ,
Yeah.
and you're just like bronzy drops or whatever, and you're just like, where's the value? Sorry, this is going beyond beauty, but
no,
it's kind
but I'm with you.
It's
but it's about beauty standards as well,
it's
right?
kind of forgetting the value of things and what it means to you,
Mm.
and that everything's interchangeable. And I just think,
but it also worries me how much emphasis they're then placing on appearance at that age as well.
yes. I mean, I think, having worked in magazines for a long time, it's this thing I think about a lot, and the meaning of, emphasis on beauty, especially being a beauty editor. But I do feel like as a whole, I am happy to see that definitely standards have changed in terms of diversity. And I mean diversity in every way, also diversity about size and diversity of what's considered beautiful, and hair, curly hair, straight hair. I think that's so, that to me, I see as a very positive move in beauty, because, if I was back to being that girl who looked at magazines when I was, a teenager and thought, I don't see myself because I'm not thin, today I don't think I'd feel that way. So I think now I look, at Sheer Lux, or, and I'm like, I can actually see, well, now I'm starting to think, where are the 40 plus women? That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, that's where we need to work as well. But I do think in beauty itself, like, there's definitely been such a positive movement, but I still think there's a way to go. And this is getting very...
getting heavy.
Getting a bit heavy, guys.
We'll bring it back. Final question. Obviously, apart from investing in your nighttime routine, if everybody here could leave with just one piece of beauty advice from you, what would that be?
Okay, but this is going to involve spending money. But one of the best things I've actually done, one of the best things, I mean, I can give you a free one, but I can give you one of the best things, and it's something I gift everybody for Christmas or for their birthday or whatever. It's literally a silk pillowcase, because it has changed.
Really? You think it makes so much difference?
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
to what?
So
what
I bought it first because I have very puffy hair. And I was like, I can't be doing my hair every day. Like, this is very annoying. So I bought the silk pillow because I thought it would help the friction of the hair. So but then, you know how when you load up your skincare and then you start, your face sticks to the pillowcase. It's like, that's something I don't like, because if it's a cotton pillowcase, all of that's disappearing. Whereas with a silk pillowcase, okay, if you're very shiny, sleep on your back, but it's not the same, because it won't rub on your skin in the same way, and it won't sort of remove the skincare. I mean, literally, that is my.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, it does mean spending some money, but everyone gets that from me. Like a silk. If you sleep in a silk pillowcase, you won't look back.
Okay, maybe. And also, like, it's one of those things that is quite hyped, so useful to know it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a bit extra.
No, I like it.
I mean, I am extra because I do take it. I take it when I go traveling.
That's
so in
extra.
a hotel, because also I'm like.
We should all just be bringing our own pillows.
So I
to
literally
hotels.
in a hotel room, I put my pillow case around it. When I'm on a overnight flight.
Love this for you.
I actually have a pillow
with a silk.
A specific one that I take.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm allowed to be a little
I love
bit
this
extra.
for you. Exactly. Well, you know what you're talking about, so we're all going to take that advice. Thank you so much. I could keep going and going forever, but thank you. I'm gonna open it up to questions. I'd love to know if anyone's got any questions for Alex on anything we spoke about. Hi.
Or for Charlotte on her skincare routine.
Or if you want to hear more about how to clog your pores with Dan, I'm your girl. Just quickly for those listening, I'm just going to repeat the question, which was on facials and the value of them in your skincare routine. Are they worth the investment?
I love a facial. So I'm one of those people, and I know there's voices out there going, it depends which facial. So if I'm going to go somewhere and it's literally just a cleansed tone, I mean, I can do that myself. I mean, genuinely, watch a good YouTube or tutorial, and on massage, you can do it yourself. But I love a place called The Light Salon, for example, because it's an LED. They do a really nice cleanse, a nice massage. It's LED. It's not crazy expensive. It's kind of accessible, but it does more than I could do myself. And I really do see a difference. I do invest in facials. I try to go every 4 to 6 weeks, because I also feel that there's just certain things that I can't do as well as a good therapist. However, I will say, beware of things, chains that recommend, radio frequency. Like, I've seen a lot of things where I'm like, ooh la la, like, what is the training here? Like, let's make sure this person actually knows, what they're doing. But I do think, I personally really do like them. But if it's literally just like, here's, 2 masks and a moisturizer, it's a waste of money. Like, seriously.
Honest advice. Any other questions? The question was, this gorgeous lady's also been using A&R for 20 years and wants to know where she can include serum in that process.
Oil,
sorry, of course.
So the oil goes at the end. So it'll be your hydrating moisturizer, your anti-aging moisturizer. You would apply I apply my eye product after my serum. Some people do it before, I do it after. Then you'd apply your moisturizer, then you'd apply your oil. Or this is actually a replacement of an oil, to be honest. Because the point of the oil is also, it's the occlusivity. So basically what it does, it prevents the transepidermal water loss. So it basically it's almost like a little bit of a shield. Again, it depends on the oil. If it's a pure squalane oil, it's slightly molecularly different. But you see, how long is the string? But in theory, the oil would be the last step. But I have to say, since there's a fellow A&R user, I urge all of you, if you have TikTok, go on the Estée Lauder TikTok, which is Estée Lauder, as in that's the handle. It's just at Estée Lauder. There is a lady on there, I saw it last week, called Lane. She is 100 years old.
Oh my God.
I aspire, you and me are going to be that woman. She is insane. If you need any, I'm glad I'm here, but if you need any inspiration of why she is the cutest, and she says she's been using A&R since the 80s. She's 100 years old. People always ask her about her skin. And I'm literally like, that is who I will be when I'm 100. I'll still be going like, A&R. And it'll be like version 10.0 by then.
You're going to be a hologram.
And I'm literally going to be ageless. But yeah, thank you. Because I really, your skin looks great.
It does. There was another question here. That's such a good question. This lady's congratulations, getting married next year and wants to know what she should do a year out, beauty-wise.
I think, first of all, I love brides because there's no one more motivated than a bride to stick to a routine. Because you know how when we talk about being consistent, a bride will be like,
in every area. Yeah.
And I think it's very smart to start a year out, because if I can go back, the one thing you don't want to do is literally a month out be like, I'm going to have peels, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have hydrofacials, I'm going to do whatever other things we can do. So if you can, I would actually, because obviously I can't see, I can talk to you after if you want, because I can't see from here, but what you want to go and talk to an expert, which can be a therapist or, a doctor. I mean, I'm not here to prescribe anything like that, but, and talk about what it is that you see, because I think I'd be very wary of anybody who looks at you says, you need this, 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 and that, because it's about what you want, right? So I would go and have an appointment and be like, okay, what do we want to achieve? And let's work backwards. So if it's things like glow, they might put you on come every 6 weeks to get a peel, or it might be things like microdermabrasion. Again, I can't see from here, or it might just be, you know what, I want lift. So maybe then there'll be a course of EMS. I've tried it. It does work. But at my age, we need a bit more. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to put the hair in front of our face. It's fine. I think it all starts with going to someone, I would actually go to a therapist rather than a derm, because a derm is a skin doctor. So a derm's good for if you have any issues, like obviously skin cancer and, things like that. But they're not really there. A therapist, someone who can do good facials, is someone who will help you. I mean, I can give you, if you tell me where you live, I'll give you a good
I was going to
name.
say, how does one find a therapist? Do
you
mean
ask
a facialist?
Alex.
Okay, ask Alex. Do you mean a facialist? Like you start
Sorry,
with
a facialist.
Yeah.
Because to me, I've seen the best results on my skin with facialists, honestly, over doctors. I think doctors, like I said, I'm not here to, I have a respect for derms, but you need to know what you go to a derm for. It's for a disease. Yeah. So it's for skin disease. I mean, if you have skin, like a mole, or if you have, but I think facialists, they see so many different women of different ages, and it's really about skin health and beauty and looking at, achieving something. And I think that's who I would go to over a derm, unless obviously you have a skin concern.
Any other questions? Hiya.
So the brand is Slip.
This is your silk pillowcase.
So I use Slip. They have lots of different colors. They have lots of, and then they did a collection. I don't know if they still do it, but they did a collection a while back where it was a neck pillow in silk. It was like a little pillow like this size. And I was literally like, because I like to treat myself sometimes. Like when I feel like I'll put things in, like, you know, I buy myself a birthday present, I'll buy myself a Christmas present.
Right.
And I was literally like, that was on my list. So I bought it for myself. So, I love it so much. But it's this brand Slip, SLIP. And that's who also does the pillowcases.
Yeah, I sleep with their masks.
They're great. I mean, I think they're great. And they even have a mask for if you have lash extensions, there's like a hole in them.
Yeah.
So that you don't, you know what I mean? Because you can't really sleep with a mask when you have lash extensions. So they're really good.
They're here for us girlies. They get it.
Well, you know, they get it.
They get it.
They get it.
There was another question. How far down on your décolletage do you go with the A&R?
Thank you for this question, because you know what? I should have.
We didn't talk about the neck.
I should have talked about that.
It's very important.
So, my mom, who's here, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing she said to me is I should have looked after my neck sooner. Right, Mom? You did say that to me. She said, if I could do one thing going back, she said, I would have looked after my neck sooner. So I took that to heart. Funnily enough, like I genetically have 2 lines here, so I don't know if it's great, like whatever. But I go from here, well, obviously from the roots of my hair all the way down to here. And
here being, sorry for those listening, sort of, what is that?
Oh my God, technical terms.
I don't know what this is called. Just halfway down your chest.
Halfway down my chest, yeah. And I do like all the way, yes, neck. Now I do it. I mean, I also wish I'd done it. If I could go back to like 20-year-old me, I would tell myself.
Because it's quite hard to fix your neck, right?
No, but this is what I mean about being like, it's all the habits. It's never too late to build better habits, I always say. Like better now than, you know. But for me, I can definitely see the difference. I can. Actually, if I'm being really truthful, I can see the difference between my face and my body. And that's not because you might say, oh, she's had filler, because I haven't, or whatever. It's genuinely, I have always taken amazing care of my face. And I neglected my body for so long. And genuinely, like, it's not the same skin. Like, I'm not going to talk negatively about myself, but it really isn't. And so I feel like that's something I wish I'd have done earlier. But, you know, it wasn't a thing. Like, now you have like lots of body products with, vitamin C or even retinoids or like lots of peptides and products like, but it didn't, it wasn't really that. I used to just like, I would spend a lot of time on the face.
Should we all be using, I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same kind of routine. But
I keep saying to Estée Lauder, like, why don't you do an A&R for the body? And they're like, well, they're not listening. But the truth is like, that's and also like, what I wish I would have, that nobody asked me this, but I'm just going to volunteer it. But I wish I would have body brushed every day and put like a good moisturizer or an oil on every day, because there's a beauty editor, a famous beauty editor who is now 65. She looks incredible physically. And she says, I body brushed. She also does yoga. Okay. But she body brushes every day and she's done that from a young age. It makes a difference.
That's really good to know.
But this is what I mean. Like, it's now that I'm going, I wish I'd done. So
noted.
Guys, do it. Start today, not tomorrow. Start today.
Very empowering. I'm sure Alex will be kind, and if there are more questions, perhaps everyone can come to you afterwards. But I'm going to wrap this up. Alex, thank you so much. You're a dream. That was heaven.